Hi, my name is Natalie. Welcome back to the Love Revolution. This is a vlog intended to open up discussions about issues and topics related to love and deep connection. Because as our surroundings change, so should the way we think about love and relationships. So, let's break down our walls, let's get a little uncomfortable, and let's build each other up as humans that actually care and love. So, today we are out here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm at this event. It's a business convention called the Zone Event. So if you haven't heard of it before, it's run by Shanda, and it is a very, very good convention for those people that want to build their own businesses, and it teaches you a lot about sales, marketing, and all that good jazz, and really just finding your voice. So I'm really excited to be here, and today we're really going to focus on this one particular question, and I thought it was really good for this space because there's just people of all ages, and mainly because I'm one of the youngest people here, and I think that I really want to know, what do people think is the best generation? You know, there's so many podcasts talking about what generation's really the best generation. You know, it's like a constant like battle between who's gonna be the best, right? But I want to see what people think. I want to see what people feel, and then we'll follow up with what I think. All right, let's go ahead and see.
All right, I'm Perry, I'm 57 years old, and what generation is the best generation? By far the 60s, because it was all about free love and peace and the best music that has ever come out anywhere, anytime, and that probably will ever be. Were there problems? Yes, there were problems, there were issues, there was war, there was stupidity, but when isn't there war and stupidity? So, peace out, the 60s.
What's up, everyone? I'm Jacob Oberhansley. I am 21, so I am what I would believe is the best generation. I like the millennials because we got that new age thinking coming on. I know a lot of people don't like it, but for me, I would much rather live in a world where we're all thinking that we can help each other because we realistically can. And when you're helping each other, we have such a better time than the people that grew up with their millions, but they're by themselves and isolated. What fun is that? So I'm here to tell you that millennials are the best just because I want to have friends, and so do the rest of us. So.
Okay, hi, my name is Dr. Kaz, and to answer the question, what generation do I think is the best generation? I think it's the generation that owns their generation. And I think that has occurred with the post-war generation and the boomers. I think the Gen Xers began to own their generation after they got over being called Gen X, the unknown equation. I think Gen Y is still figuring that out. I believe the millennials haven't any idea how they make their impact. So the best generation is a generation that can own their goodness, that can share their goodness, and that can, for future generations, create a foundation to continue that goodness. That's your best generation.
Hi, I'm Erica from Seattle, Washington.
Nice. And how old are you?
I am 34. I would say that when you're 30, because you got to live like playing with bikes and meeting your friends by the payphone and not so much being on the phone. Yeah. So I think that was the best generation. But we're also kind of moving into that, like, oh my God, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
I love it.
That's a hard one.
That's a good
That's a hard one. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's nice to be in a place now where you can have movement on social media, but also I got to live like the 90s, where it was chill and badass. Yeah, I don't know.
I like that.
Yeah.
My name is Denise Damaris.
Nice. And how old are you?
I'm old. I don't think there's a best generation. I think that depending upon the time and what aspect of life you're speaking to, there's a better generation. Obviously, if I wanted to be really techie, I'd like to be a millennial. That would be the best generation to be. If I wanted to have a really long marriage, my mother's generation might be the best to be. If I wanted to have dinner with my family and have conversations instead of look at a screen, my mother's generation would be better. I wanted to have family vacations where everyone played together instead of staring at their screen. They're holding my mother's generation would be better.
What about your generation?
My generation is fun for what it is. We are creative and inventive and fun. Some of us are very political. Again, it depends upon what you're looking for.
All right, my name is Chris. I'm 47 years old. The best generation is the next one. And after that, it'll be the next one. And after that, it'll be the next one. Because each one is growing up in a different world of possibility. When I grew up, Evel Knievel was the coolest thing on two wheels. Now they got guys doing double backflips in the air. Every generation has something special and unique. They're growing up in a different world of possibility that only makes it better every single time.
Hi, my name is Heidi Anderson. I'm an author and real estate broker in Seattle, Washington, and today's question is, what is the best generation and why? And today my answer is that today, right now, this is the best generation because this is the only generation in which I can personally make a difference.
So, what generation is really the best generation? Well, to be honest, before asking anybody, I had already made up my mind that the millennials are the best generation. And the reason why I say that still is because we're the only generation that's going to have the privilege to experience life before the internet and also have grown up with the internet. So the time that we experience without the internet is a time when, things were a lot slower, which taught us patience, taught us trust as well, because it was a time when we had to call people and be like, hey, let's meet up at this time at a certain place. And we just had to trust that they were gonna be there. It taught us ethics and values that, because, we grew up in a structure and we didn't really challenge it because we didn't know any better, in some ways. And more importantly, it also was a time when we were able to really build our critical thinking skills because we didn't have all the solutions at the palm of our hands through our phones. But at the same time, we're not as lost as older generations than ours when it comes down to being quick to think, being able to communicate with more people all over the world. So our pool of just friends and connections is not just based off of who we met in person, but it's now endless. Also, our opportunities and our way of thinking is now endless because thanks to the internet, we know that our limit is not just at the palm of our hands now, but it is now limitless, as big as our brain can think. We were taught, because of the internet, that everything is possible. And we were taught so much knowledge, but at the same time, because there's so much knowledge, there's too much knowledge, too many options, we can be lost at times. We can have a lack of values. But at the same time, I believe that the millennials can bridge that gap between the new generation, the Gen Zs, which are really in just a disarray of like, I can do whatever I want, I can say whatever I want, because there are no limits, there is no right or wrong. I feel like that's what the internet is doing to us. But yet we remember that time when things were slower and we're like, no, actually you can't. There are values that should be kept. There are things that should be considered. And so after asking all these people the same question, what generation is the best generation? It made me challenge a little bit of what I wanted to say, Yes, the millennials are awesome for every reason that I said. But I like what that other lady said, where it all depends on what you want. each generation is going to be good at its own thing. And also, in a TED Talk by Scott Hess, it's called Millennials, Who They Are and Why We Hate Them. I love this TED Talk because he pretty much talks about how every generation before their younger generation hates on them. And it relates back to what one of the men said, where it's like, you know which generation's the best? The one next, and the one after that one, and the one after that one. And you know what? And I like thinking in that form. I like the way that man was thinking, because he's not just thinking about the present. He's not thinking about the past, like the other man that was like talking about how the 60s were the best. Hey, that generation was freaking awesome and sexy too. But I like having hope in the future. I liked how that man had hope in the future. And yes, the millennial generation has a lot of qualities that are amazing, we're gonna, I think, definitely be a very shifting generation. But I want to live in that type of idea where the next generation is still going to be better. And I hope it's going to be better. Because it can't just be, this can't just be it. This time is not just going to be it. And I hope that they learn from the millennials. So, like Heidi said at the end, this generation is the best generation because I can make a difference here and now. So that's where I'm going to focus on, and I hope you do too. So until next time, I hope you guys continue to love and have a lovely day.